Start. Okay. So now I'm going to start with the new service, which is Glacier. Now again, Glacier is not totally new to you, right? Because in our storage, S3 storage, we have talked about the Glacier as well. Let us start with this one. Okay. Let us proceed. We are going to talk about the same concept again, but little bit more on top of it. We are going to talk about vault access policies. What do you mean by job? And what is the significance of key management service in Glacier? First of all, you know that Glacier is an archival storage. Okay. So if I simply go to the S3 service here in my AWS account, if I simply go to S3 service, and let me take any pre-created bucket maybe. Okay, so for example, let us say this one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, this bucket is there. I can upload the data, add file. Let me select any file for the time being. Let it be this. And now, if I simply click the option upload, it will get uploaded in the S3 service, that S3 standard. Okay. But now if I want to upload it in Glacier, what I will do, I will go to properties and here I will go through the Glacier storage class. Now, you know, this Glacier storage class are having 3 options now. Glacier instant retrieval. So what it does, it is used for long-lived archive data accessed once a quarter with instance retrieval in millisecond. Okay, so if you are just going to retrieve that object once in a quarter, okay, but that retrieval will be in milliseconds. So we can select this one. Let me just select this. But you know, these retrievals are not free. Okay, so I have to pay for this retrieval. Okay, it will not be free. But let me just go for that and let me quickly upload the object. Okay. Now, if I go to that particular object, which is the one which I have just added, see, it is immediately available for the download or open. This is what the Glacier instant retrieval is. Okay, now what I will do, I will go ahead and I will upload some object in other Glacier classes as well. So let me use, let us say this option this time. And now I will go to properties. Instead of going to the instant retrieval, now I will upload it in Glacier flexible retrieval. Now this is the, formerly we were calling it as just Glacier. So once they introduced this new class, instant retrieval, they are calling this Glacier as flexible retrieval. Okay, this was not there initially. Instant retrieval was not there initially. So we were just able to retrieve the data between 5 minutes to few hours. Okay, so again, your data is durable. It is getting stored in multiple availability zone and the minimum storage duration is 90 days. So what exactly it means? You are paying for 90 days storage here. Okay, so even if you remove the data from the Glacier, let us say 1 day or after 2 days, but still the charges will be for 90 days. Okay, so if I select this option this time, I have uploaded different document. The name of the document is CloudFront OAC. So if I just go to that document now, CloudFront OAC, you can see now it is in Glacier Flexible Retrieval class. Okay. Now if I just select this, these options are not available. Okay. It is not immediately accessible. Now if I want to access this, I need to go to action and I have to initiate the restore. And when I initiate the restore, I get three options. Whether I want to go for bulk retrieval takes minimum 5 to 12 hours, but it is very cost effective. Second option is standard retrieval. It is going to take 3 to 5 hours for retrieval. Again, little bit less costlier as compared to expedited one. But if I go for this expedited retrieval, my data will typically be available within 1 to 5 minutes when retrieving the data, which is less than 220 megabytes. Okay, so what I will do, I will go for this expedited retrieval. Charges are high here. Okay, expedited retrieval will be having high charges. Let me initiate the restore. Okay, so now it is asking me how many number of days you want that restored copy to be available. Now what exactly means? It means that once it is restored, for how many days you want that option download and open available. Okay, now let me just select 2 days here. Let me initiate, and you know how much time it is going to take. 1 to 5 minutes. Okay, so that is not a big time. We are going to wait for it and we are going to see. Okay, so I have initiated the retrieval. And when I go to this, now see, it is not immediately available now. Okay, but within 1 to 5 minutes, I should see this download and open button activated. And those will remain activated for 2 days because I have selected the option 2 days, right? So just hold on. So within 5 minutes, it is going to show me that options available. So this is the one. Okay, but as you know, the above two options which I have not selected, they will take little bit more time. Although they are less costlier for me, but it will take little bit less time. So these things we have already seen earlier. Okay, these things we have already seen earlier when we talked about the S3 service, right? Okay. So we are going to talk about something else today. That is vault. What do you mean by vault? What do you mean by vault access policy and so forth? S3 Glacier. It is a secure, durable, and extremely low cost S3 storage class for data archiving and long-term backup. What are the concepts? Any object such as photo, video, file, or document that you store in S3 Glacier is known as archive. So folks, in S3, we were calling it as object. Okay, we were simply using the word as object in S3 service. When we are using S3 standard infrequent access and so forth. But here, when you upload the object, it is known as archive. Now, each archive has unique address and the general form for the archive address is something like this. HTTPS, your region specific endpoint, your account ID, your vault name, your archive as well as your archive ID. But now when I go here, okay, let us go to the first one. Let me see whether it is available. Yeah, see, the CloudFront OAC, it is available for me. Okay, it is available. So within 5 minutes, this option is available to me. Fine. So if I just open it now, it should show me the content and I will be paying for it. Definitely, I will be paying for it because these retrievals are not free. Even if I wish, I can download it as well. Now, if I just go over here, I don't see that archive ID they are talking about. Okay. I can't see that archive ID here. On the contrary, I'm just able to see something which is known as object URL. So here you can see this is the bucket name, the object name, and this is the object URL. Key indicates that it is just the name of my object. Okay. Type is text, size, last date modified, in region it is created, who is the owner, and so forth. Okay. So I'm not getting that archive ID here, right? The reason I'm not getting the archive ID here is something different. So in that case, you need to create something which is known as vault. Okay. Now what I will do, I will go to the Glacier service now. We see this Glacier service is there. S3 Glacier is a separate service. Okay. So right now I don't have any vault created, right? So you can see there is no vault here. So what I will do, I will create vault. Now let me just give name, just like the bucket force. So in S3, when you want to upload your object, you need to create the bucket, right? But if you use this service, S3 Glacier service, it is not the standard S3 bucket. If you use this S3 Glacier service, you need to create something which is known as vault. Okay, let me create this vault. Let us say it is demo vault. And let me just create the vault. Now this is the vault AR. Okay, this is the vault ARN they are talking about. So if I take you here now, so vault name and so forth. Okay, so anyway, this is the vault ARN. Now, if I just go to this vault, now I want to upload my data, right? I want to upload the data. So if I go here, you will not see any option. In S3 bucket, we get that upload option, right? So you simply click on that upload option and you upload the object. But there is no option here. You cannot upload the data directly using the graphical user interface. Now there are two ways. What are the two ways that you can use? Either you can use the command line interface. Okay, so see, certain things we know in AWS, they can just be done using the command line interface. So this is one. You cannot upload the data in your vault using the graphical user interface. You have to use command line interface. Other option is you can use some third party tools. Now, the most popular tools which I know are a BlackBerry. Okay. BlackBerry tool is there, which is used to interact with your AWS. Otherwise, Fast Glacier is there. Fast Glacier. So I have already downloaded this tool. I have already configured this tool. Now, if I just go to this Fast Glacier, this is my Fast Glacier. Let me refresh it. And see this demo vault, which I have just created, right? Just created this demo vault. It is appearing here. Now here, I can see this upload option. I can click the option upload, upload file, and let us say, take some file. Let us say I want to use this file. And now you can see this is, yeah, it cannot be used for the holding static website or something, right? It is just for the example. I have uploaded this one. It is not at all going to do anything with static website hosting, just like the S3 bucket. So this is my upload. This is my upload in my Glacier. Okay. So, okay. I will again show you how to use using the command line interface. Okay, so just let me just go to my commands and I will show you how the command will work. if I want to create the vault using the command again, let me show you this also. Let us create one more vault. Copy. Okay, but for that, I will need the command, right? So let me just use my command line interface first. Let me use the AWS configure. Let me see whether it is having the appropriate permission. Okay. Yes, it is having the appropriate permission. Now what I will do, I will simply use that command from here. What was the command? AWS Glacier create vault -- vault name. Now let me create it with my vault. Again, one more thing. Now bucket names are globally unique, right? There cannot be two buckets of the same name in the entire AWS space, but it is not like that for vault. Okay, so vault names can be same, provided I don't have the same vault in my account. So if you have already created the vault using the same name, it will not make much difference for me. Okay, so I can use that name as well. Fine. So now this is the vault, and now I have to provide the account ID. But if I am using the same account, okay, in which I am working right now, so in that case, I can simply provide the dash. Otherwise, I have to provide this account ID. Now, right now, I don't have multiple accounts, right? So this is the same account. So if even I'm using the same user who belongs to this account only, so I do not provide this. Okay, so in that case, you simply provide the dash. And if I enter, and see, it got created. Okay, because I have selected the default option as JSON, it is showing me in that option. Otherwise, -- output, and you can provide, let us say, table or maybe text, even it is possible. See, it got created. Let us verify it graphically. So if I go to my vaults once again, now I can see this one. Now, this was created using my third-party tool, Fast Glacier. And this is created using my command line interface. So my vault will have the ARN. And this is something like this. It is having my account ID inside it, the vault, and the name of the vault. So that was one command. Now, second command is, if I want to list the vaults. So this command is very simple. Even you can upload the archive as well. Okay. So if I simply use copy command, and if I simply paste it here, the default output is JSON. That's why it will show me in JSON format. So right now I can see, just like AWS S3 list bucket, it is showing me the vaults in my account. 2 vaults are there. Okay, let me see if the command is there to upload the archive. Yes. This command, AWS Glacier upload archive -- account ID, and I can provide dash if I'm working the same account, -- vault name, let us say it is my vault, and then -- body. And this is the file name. Okay. Now, if you are using this command from the command prompt, right, from here maybe, so that file has to be present in that local directory. Otherwise, you are going to give the appropriate path, just like the S3. Also, we were doing the same thing. So if I just go to my C users and SEMA, maybe C users and SEMA. So the file has to be present here. So I think the same file I have created it earlier, and that is why it is present here. So I can use the same command. Okay, same command, and I will use the same file. So what is the command? I did it in my morning batch maybe. So let me just copy this command. Okay, there is some error. What we can do, if you are finding it little bit tricky, what we can always do, we can go to Google and upload archive example. I want to see that where I'm doing wrong. Upload archive. Upload archive, vault name, account ID. So I have given everything. Account ID, I have just given dash. Okay, so it will do. So vault name has to be there. Let me see the example. It should work actually. Yeah, the extension was not there. Now see, it got uploaded. And not only that, I got the archive ID as well. Okay, so let me just make a correction here so that next time I will not do the same mistake. Okay, now you have to use this very carefully. The archive ID. Whenever you want to retrieve it using the command line interface, you will always need this archive ID. Okay, so what I will do for the time being, I will simply copy it. No need to copy it rather, but I want it later on. So I will definitely need this archive ID somewhere when I'm going to delete it maybe. Otherwise, if you don't have the archive ID with you, you will not be able to delete that archive. Okay. So then you don't have any option other than this graphical user interface. Now, if I just go here, now you can see this is the vault. And if you just refresh it, I should even see that it will just, it is just taking time, but it will definitely show me that arc.txt file, which is uploaded in my vault as well. Okay. So right now it is not showing me, but we can see it got uploaded. I got the output as well. My command run successfully. Now again, if I go to the graphical user interface and if I go to this my vault, okay, it is not showing me. You will not be able to see any archive directly from here. So that is the reason, you know, folks, it sometimes become very difficult to do this one, because we are so used to with the S3 service, right? And if you just compare everything with the S3 service, then it becomes little bit difficult. S3 में बहुत आसान होता है upload करना, download करना, because the graphical interface is there. But here something else is there, and that's why just a practice. Okay, with the proper practice you will be able to do this as well. Fine. Now if I proceed here, see what I have shown you. Now this archive has a unique address. Okay, now this is the example of the URI. So again, let me take you there. This is my vault. Scroll down. I just want to show you that URI. Actually, it should be available in my details. Vault name, region, vault ARN I am getting. Fine. But I am not getting that URI. So that is actually the archive related. Anyway, we will just look for it. Each archive has a unique address, and the general form of the archive address is something like this. Let me see whether it is possible for me to see it from here. Okay, don't worry. You will be getting it in your lab. I think I am missing something here. Anyway, this is the archive ID, which I have already shown you. Okay, I have already shown you the archive ID. Even in the command, if I just go here, it is showing me the location, archive ID. Okay, archive ID I am getting, but I am not getting that URI. Okay, let us find it out later on. Okay, so vault, what is vault? It is just the container, just like the S3 bucket to store your archives. When you create a vault, you specify the vault name and the region where you want the vault to be located. Okay, so what I did here, I was already in the Oregon region, so my vault got created. Even in the command prompt, I had selected my default region, right? So when I have authenticated myself, my region was US West 2. So otherwise, we can even mention something here, hyphen, region, even that will work. Okay. Now, URI. HTTPS. It is nothing but the HTTPS URL through which you will be able to access your vault. So this is the account ID, vault, and the name of the vault. This identifies the Oregon region. This is your account ID. This is the vault, and this is the name of the vault. Now, just like we are having bucket access policy and object lock policy in AWS S3, bucket access policy and object lock policy. Okay. Similarly, we can use vault access policy as well as vault lock policy as well. So from here, if I just go to vault policy, you can use vault access policy as well as the vault lock policy. Similarly, we can, it is just in JSON. Okay. So it can be written in the JSON format, just like the bucket policy. Then what is known as job? Now, Amazon S3 Glacier jobs can perform a selected query, a query on an archive, retrieve an archive, or get an inventory of your vault. When you perform a query on an archive, we perform something which is known as job. Now, query can be anything, right? I want to see my archive. I want to retrieve my archive. I want to upload my archive. So all these activities are known as job. You initiate a job that provides SQL query and a list of SQL Glacier archive object. Again, it is designed for 11 nines of deliverability, just like your S3. And by default, it supports SSL TLS, that is encryption of data in transit, as well as REST. Vault lock feature enforces compliance through lockable policy. So it is not mandatory, but if you are having the compliance, then you can use the vault lock option. Okay, now let us see accessing the Glacier. I've already shown you, but let us go a little bit in detail. So otherwise, you can even use .NET software development kits, SDKs, REST type of web services, otherwise life cycle policy. So in life cycle policy, if you just go to simply your S3 service, now I'm back in my S3 service. Okay, so this is the normal S3 bucket. So if I go to that bucket, and now let us say this is the object abc.txt. I want it to move to Glacier storage. So what I can do, I can use the management. I can create life cycle rule. And in that life cycle rule, I can mention the name. Let us say it is rule 1. limit the scope of this rule for one or more filters. So let us say I just want to use that abc.txt object only. Okay. So if at all it is for all object, I can select this. Okay. But I just want to go for abc.txt. Okay. You can limit the scope of the rule to the key value pair added below. So let me not select that. Now, I want to move the current version of the object between storage classes. So initially, after let us say 30 days, okay, I want it to be in infrequent access. Then I can add transition, and now I can select either Glacier instant retrieval, flexible retrieval, or maybe deep archive. Okay, so depending on my requirement, I want it to get moved. Let me see whether it is possible. I will directly move it to instant retrieval. At least I need to mention 1 day. Okay, otherwise it will not work. So I can add that transition, right? So I will not do that, but see, this is how we can move your objects to the Glacier class. So when we move it to the Glacier, again, it will go to that vault. But see, we will not be able to access it directly from that vault. Okay. So this will get accessible from the S3 bucket itself. So this is what the life cycle policy is. S3 Glacier access and retrievals to archive. So we have just seen this one. Expedited retrieval 1 to 5 minutes, standard 3 to 5 hours, as well as bulk 5 to 12 hours. Storing data and interacting with data in S3 Glacier. S3 Glacier stores data in an archive. A basic unit of data in Glacier, document, video, image, etc. And vault is the collection of archives. So today I have shown you this, right? How to create the vault, how to upload the archive in the vault, that I have shown you. So you need to have the account ID, name of the vault, as well as the ID, individual archive ID. So this is required if you want to retrieve it. A given AWS account can create up to 1,000 vaults in S3 Glacier. Okay. You are going to have a lab on it, don't worry. So this is what I was talking about, lifecycle policy. Otherwise, you can use S3 Glacier APIs, right? So the commands to initiate the job, select the archive, and delete the archive maybe. So I have shown you those commands, right? So we have used this one, but there are multiple commands. Initiate the job, vault name, and so forth. List vaults, and so forth. Please read it. Policies, encryption, and security with S3 Glacier. So this is the life cycle policy. Maybe after 30 days, I want it to move to S3 infrequent access, then Glacier, and then I want to delete it after that. So this was, I was trying to tell you. So even it can be moved to the Glacier class and it can be deleted forever afterwards using the life cycle management policy. Server-side encryption. Just now we have seen. So by default, your Glacier will be encrypted. Okay, so server-side encryption is already there. And even the data in transit type of encryption is also there. So it is the SSE S3 type of encryption. You can provide your own keys or you can use the keys which is used by the KMS service by default. Security with Glacier. Control access with identity and access management policy. S3 Glacier encrypts your data with AES 256. S3 Glacier even manages your keys for you. Encryption keys. Comparison between S3 and Glacier. So what is the difference? In S3, literally there is no limit how much data can be uploaded in the S3 bucket. Similar story is for Glacier. Latency, if you want to retrieve the data from S3 and take any storage class, so maximum you will get millisecond latency. But here the latency can be minutes to hours. So maximum size of the object that can be uploaded in S3 is 5 terabyte. But here the size is quite huge. You can upload the archive of 50 terabyte size as well. So bigger the size of the archive, the more cost effective it will be. Cost per GBs per month, it is very high for S3. But for Glacier, the GBs per month is very low. You are billed for put, copy, post, list and get. But here you are just billed for upload as well as retrieval. Retrieval pricing, it is per request. It is per request as well as per GB. So retrieval is very costlier here. Okay, retrieval is costlier. Glacier demonstration. So probably in the next when you are having the video, so you are just going to go through that video as well. Okay, so let us see. So yes, this is the demonstration. Okay, folks. So just go through this demonstration once. Now let us go for the next topic, S3 and the AWS CLI. Now you will see all those commands here. Okay, let us start. It will not be the difficult one. It is very simple one for you because we already did all these commands, maybe in your lab and when I was demonstrating you. So this is little bit diving deep inside the S3. So we are going to talk about intelligent tiering, S3 versioning, object lock, S3 standard, infrequent access, one zone infrequent access, bucket, object, keys, versioning, and everything. So nothing is new here. We are almost aware of everything. Okay, so let us see quickly. The change will be here you are doing everything using the command. S3 can be used to store and retrieve any amount of data anytime from anywhere on the web. That is the feature of the cloud storage. S3 is a cloud storage. There are different classes. General purpose. So it is just the standard class, S3 standard. Intelligent tiering. It is if you are having the unknown access pattern, right? So intelligent tiering is just going to move your object from one storage class to another storage class. And just to save your cost, right? If the objects are not getting frequently accessed, it will move it to the S3 standard infrequent access. If it is getting access frequently, it will just copy it in the S3 standard. So these are the two S3 standard infrequent access and S3 one zone infrequent access. So here your data will just get stored in single availability zone. So for archival, we are having two classes here. Here they have shown you two, but right now there are three, right? So the current update is that now there are three archival storage class that we have already seen. S3 Glacier Instant Retrieval, S3 Glacier Flexible Retrieval, as well as S3 Glacier Deep Archive. So these are the three classes. If you want me to go in little bit detail of any class, please let me know. But as per my knowledge, we have done this already. If you want me to just elaborate it little bit more again, please let me know. Now, this is the characteristics of S3. It is having 11 nines of durability, 4 nines of availability, no limit how much data can be stored, but the only limitation is that a single object cannot exceed 5 terabytes of size. What are the S3 concepts? Bucket. You need to create the bucket. It is a container which is going to store your data, and the data which gets uploaded in the S3 bucket is known as object. That is why it is known as object level storage. Now, what exactly the object is? The object is actually the data type. Maybe it is the picture file, audio file, video file, something. Then the size, okay, the metadata of it, and the key, that is the name, right? That is the name of the file. So together it is known as object. When you store your data in S3 bucket, the data portion is opaque to Amazon S3. Okay, so AWS will never know what your data is there. Okay, They will just be knowing the size of that metadata of that object. Okay. But your actual data portion is not revealed to AWS as well. They will be knowing the metadata. It is a set of key name value pairs that describes the object. Key and the region. Now, key are nothing but the file names, right? So these keys have nothing to do with those keys. These are the file names. Each object in a bucket has exactly one key, that is one name. There cannot be two files of the same name in the S3 bucket. If at all it happens, it is going to override it, right? We have seen unless and until versioning is enabled, then it will just going to overwrite it. When we create the bucket, we have to mention the region. Otherwise, S3 is the global service. Your data will get created in all the availability zones, in all the data center in that region. And that is the reason we get that 11 nines of durability. Creating the bucket. Now, what are the advantages of S3? Creating the bucket. You can create the bucket, store the data, download the data. You can assign permission, either allow or deny through bucket policy. And we can use the standard interfaces. Okay, so maybe GUI, API, REST API, or maybe some third, SDKs as well. Versioning and intelligent tiering. So we have already seen earlier the versioning option. By default, the default nature of S3 is that it is just going to override the object, right? But if you want to protect your object from unintentional deletion, or I will say unintentional modification, then you can enable the versioning feature. If you enable the versioning feature, it is going to create the version of each and every object. It will increase the size. Ultimately, you are going to pay for it more. Okay, your storage size will increase. Your objects will not get deleted by default. They will get just appended with the delete marker, a 0 size file. Okay, but beneath that delete marker, your files will be quite safe. Your objects will be quite safe. They will never get deleted if the versioning feature is enabled. If you remember, we have seen it practically. Practically, ये सब कुछ देखा है हमने. Okay. Intelligent tiering, as we have seen, it is not in itself a storage class. Okay. When you upload the data in intelligent tiering, by default, it will go to the S3 standard class only. Intelligent tiering is just the artificial intelligence, or I will say the machine learning type of service, which is going to continuously monitor your accessing pattern. And depending on that, it is going to move your object in different storage classes. Again, it will be having the encryption at rest as well as in transit. How intelligent tiering works. So you need to create that one. Okay. So if I just go to intelligent tiering now, for example, if I go to this bucket, any bucket, let me select the bucket. And if I go to management here, not management, I guess properties. Here you will see something intelligent tiering archive configuration. You can move your object to the archives as well. You need to create the configuration. Okay. So once you create the configuration, then you can select the archive rules as well. If you want to move the object in the archival tier, that is the glacier, you can select it. Even you can select it for the deep archive access class tier as well. Okay. By default, it will not go there unless and until you initiate it. If you have not initiated it, by default, it will just move it between the S3 standard and S3 standard infrequent access only. So this is how it works. Frequently access object will be uploaded in the S3 standard. Okay, if they are not getting frequently accessed, so objects not accessed for 30 days will go to infrequent access tier. Objects not accessed for 90 days, it will go to the glacier tier. Okay, and if it is more than 180 days, it will go to deep archive. Access and object. So this we have already seen earlier, how to, by default, your bucket is block, right? It does not have the public access enabled, but if you wish, you can remove this tick mark and then your bucket can be publicly accessible. These are the settings. Okay. So usually we select all the one, but if you want to customize, you can block new public ACLs, remove public access, block new public bucket policy, otherwise block public and cross account access as well. Object lock. So once you want to use that object lock, but see, basically this option will not be available after creating the bucket. You need to enable this option while creating the bucket itself. Again, that we have seen. Okay. And yes, there are two ways of the retention mode. Either you can go for compliance or you can go for governance. Now, if I just go to any bucket here, now let us say this is the bucket. If I simply go to this bucket and if I go to properties, you will see object lock. Okay. But I cannot enable it now. The thing is that it has to be enabled while creating the bucket itself. I cannot do anything from here. Okay. But once it is enabled while creating the bucket, I can enable the object lock as well. And when I enable, it is going to ask me the retention mode, whether it is the compliance, whether it is the governance. And what is the difference between that? The compliance and the governance. In compliance mode, a protected object version cannot be overwritten or deleted by any user, including the account root user. So see, when you are going to use that, it is going to ask you the time period. Now let us say I have selected it for 30 days. And if it is in compliance mode, including the root administrator, nobody will be able to modify that object. Okay. But in governance mode, user with appropriate permission can override that. Okay. So this is the basic difference. Okay. So you must have a special permission. You must have a administrative access. Then you can change the governance mode. Okay. But compliance mode, even the root user cannot change that. Event notification. So yes, while going through the Lambda, we have seen this. The buckets are capable of sending the notification to the other services. The other services can be SQS service, SNS service, or even the Lambda. And I think you did it, right? So counting the words in the file, you did this one. So no need to explain it anymore because you have already done it practically. S3 as well as CLI. Everything can be done using the CLI for S3 service, and some commands we have already seen earlier. AWS S3 MB, S3 LS, copy, sync, right? Even the RM command and so forth. Create an object with specific storage class. So if I want to use the S3 command and I want to copy this file, okay, in some specific storage class from my S3 bucket. So I can use the command AWS S3CP file.txt. Okay. So copy this file. From where? What is the source? Source is S3 bucket. And what is the destination? Destination is intelligent TO. So see, using the command even, we can move the object from one storage class to another storage class. What do you mean by multi-part upload? Multi-part upload means, let me see whether they have shown it graphically. Okay. Multi-part upload is usually it is done using the command only. It is not possible to go for multi-part upload using the graphical user interface. Let me just quickly show you that feature. This is multi-part. See, there is a big file. But if you want to expedite the upload in the S3 bucket, you can go for multi-part upload. Charges will be there, but your file will get splitted into equal chunks again, and portion of those will be uploaded separately. Okay, once all the parts get uploaded, the file will get recreated. Okay, so those individual presets will be connected and your file will be again recreated. So this is known as multi-part upload. But you cannot perform multi-part upload using the console. You need to use the command line interface only. So let us go for additional feature. So you can have some other features as well. Pre-signed object URL, cross-origin resource sharing. Now, what do you mean by pre-signed object URL? Now, if you create the bucket, okay, if you create the bucket, let us say this is my bucket and there is one object inside that bucket. Right now, there is no object. So what I will do, I will quickly upload one object. Okay, so I have uploaded one picture file. Now this bucket does not have public access, but now I want you to download that object. Okay, but now only people who are having that permission, okay, will be able to download this object. So for that, what we can do, we can use this command. See, it is very simple. Let me just take the command. I will show you. So whoever is having that link, only that those people will be able to access that object. Now, what is the command? AWS S3 pre-sign S3 colon, sorry. AWS S3 pre-sign S3 colon / name of my bucket. Here, I guess the name of my bucket is SEMA-5000. So it is SEMA-5000. In that bucket, I am having a picture file. Name of the file is puppy.jpeg. Okay. And now what I will do, I will use the option expires in. And let us say it is 60 seconds. Okay. Now just assume the use case that these are the paid one. Okay. So let us say you have paid for this particular, this is the S3 bucket and this is the file. Maybe it is the paid one. It is the movie. It is maybe the music file or something. Okay. And now whoever is paid, they will get this pre-signed URL. So whoever is having this URL, only those people will be able to download that file. But again, even if I give this URL permanently, it is possible that you are going to share this URL with your friend, right? So that they are going to download the same movie, maybe free. But I don't want you to do that. And that's why we can attach the timestamp there. Now, this URL will just be available for 60 seconds. So once you download it, only in 16 seconds, it will be possible. Okay, so now see, this URL got created. Let me simply copy this URL. And what I will do, I will go over here. And let me paste that URL. See, but now you will see that it will just be available for 1 second. Okay. Once 60 seconds, that is 1 minute. Once that 1 minute time is over, you will see the error. Just hold on. Now, although it is publicly accessible, I will say, but only those people who are having that URL will be able to access it, and only for the specified time duration. See, once that time is over, that link expired. Okay, the link is expired and now you will not be able to download it. So this is what is known as pre-signed URL feature. We also have cross-origin resource sharing. Now, what exactly this cross-origin resource sharing is? Let us go here. You will be able to understand. So we have just seen this multi-part upload. Even the transfer acceleration option is there. Now, what do you mean by transfer acceleration? See the diagram. So there are files, you can upload it using the internet. This internet is having its own challenges, right? The bandwidth and maybe it is the shared internet. But if you want to expedite that upload now, what you can do, you can just upload it to the nearest edge location. And then using the Amazon's own private network, your object will get uploaded to the S3 bucket. But yes, the charges will be here. Okay, it is not free. Here, it is totally free because you are just uploading the object using the public internet. But here you want to upload it faster, move data faster over long distances. So you can use S3 transfer acceleration. Event notification we have already seen. If somebody has uploaded the event notification can be set to the Lambda function maybe, and then the Lambda is just executing that function. What are the cost factors of S3? You are paying for storage, you are paying for request and retrieval, data transfer, management and analytics, replication, as well as your versioning. Okay, let me go for that course first. Have they not mentioned it here? Cross account resource sharing. Okay, it is not here, but let me try to explain. I thought it is in my presentation so that using the picture, it becomes very easy to understand, right? But anyway, let me just try to explain this. Cross-origin resource sharing. Now, folks, let us say you have created the static website in S3 bucket. Okay, you have created a static website in S3 bucket. You are having that index.html file. And this website belongs to, let us say, www.xyz.com. So using www.xyz.com, using your root 53 properly, you are accessing this S3 website. Now, on this index.html page, there are certain links. When you click on that, it is taking you to some abc.com domain. Now, see, the original domain is xyz.com, but now you are going to some different domain. When you click on the link on that index.html file, it is taking you to some different domain. This is known as cross-origin resource sharing. This is known as cross-origin resource sharing. This is not permitted by default using your browser. If it is your Chrome, if it is your Firefox, they will definitely not permit it. Okay. So if you want and if you trust both, especially this domain, abc.com domain, if you trust this, because see, anyway, XYZ is your domain. This is your static website and it is taking your customers to some different website. But if you trust this one and if you want to allow this to happen, then what you can do, you can use the S3 course here. Okay, course. It stands for cross-origin resource sharing. Allow an S3 object that hosts a static website to support course. Create a course configuration on the bucket with the rules that identify the authorized origin and the HTTP operations. See, if you use S3 bucket to host a static website, you can use its cross-origin resource sharing feature. This feature allows the web application to access a resource from a domain that is different than the domain of the bucket's endpoint. By default, browsers block such requests to enforce same origin domain policy. Course defines a way for client web applications that are loaded in one domain to interact with resources in different domain. And to configure your bucket to allow cross-origin resource sharing, we create this configuration. From where? Okay. So now if I go to my S3 bucket, see how from where to configure that option. So let me go to that bucket. And if I go to permissions here, somewhere you will see that course. This is cross-origin resource sharing. Okay. So if you edit this one, you can have that policy here. You can have that policy here. It can be written in either JSON or XML as well. Even the XML format is supported in cross-origin resource sharing. Okay. So in that policy, you need to define both this domain, what we have taken. You have to define the origin domain that is xyz.com, and the destination domain, which is abc.com. So if you just define it, the sample policy is already there. You just need to define these two domains, then it will allow that access. Otherwise, cross origin resource is not permitted. Okay. So this is what for your advanced S3 feature. Okay. So although we were knowing lots of things beforehand, we have seen some new as well. For example, course. I can't show you the demonstration of course, but I have already shown you the demonstration of pre-signed URL. Okay. And even I have shown you how to use that storage classes and everything. Other option, object locking, and all those we have already seen in our earlier sessions only. Okay, folks. So with this, we have completed this one. Now I want you to go for or take this as the activity. This one, 183. Please note it down. You are going to perform this lab. Now it will be very easy for you. And it will be a good as well. You will get a good hands-on on whatever we have learned, including the glacier as well. Okay. Now what is the lab? AWS provide multiple ways to manage data on EBS volume. Okay, fine. Create and maintain snapshot of EC2 instances. Use S3 sync to copy files from EBS to S3 bucket and use S3 versioning to retrieve the deleted files. Okay, so not a big deal. Very simple. The only challenge will that it will be using the command line interface. That is the only challenge. Okay. So see and just try to perform this lab. These are the EC2 instances. So you are just going to create the EBS snapshot and you are going to put it in the S3 bucket. This is what the lab is about. Okay. So try to perform this lab. And if you want, you can use that scheduling policy, creating the snapshots, scheduling. And you can use the cron job. And yes, they have taken the cron job here. Using the cron job, you are just creating the snapshot policy. So folks, I want you to perform this lab. At least you can try it. And if you are not successful in that, we will see it in our tomorrow session. Okay. So storage gateway, I will start in our tomorrow session. So tomorrow we will be able to complete this module. The entire module we are going to complete tomorrow. Which lab, Mihir? Which lab you are talking about? 183?
No, ma'am. That
previous one.
Hosting, yes, hosting S3, hosting of
Okay.
static website.
Okay, वो पहला वाला लैब की बात कर रहे हैं आप, right? Can you please mention the number of that lab so that कल हम जब session start करते हैं तो पहले मैं वो lab ले लूंगी आपका and then I will proceed with the next one. You please tell me the lab number. आप देख लो कौन सा लैब नंबर है और मुझे बता दो अभी आप. Actually, it is not the difficult one. I have done that lab in my morning session and rather my morning session did it perfectly. Okay. So उसमें कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं आएगा. Probably आप थोड़ा सा कुछ गलत कर रहे हो. I will definitely help you. Okay. आपको हेल्प करूंगी मैं, लेकिन सिर्फ मुझे लैब का एक बार नंबर बता दो आप.
कैफे एक्टिविटी मैम.
कैफे एक्टिविटी कौन सा वाला कैफे एक्टिविटी?
कैफे एक्टिविटी होस्टिंग S3 वेबसाइट होस्ट.
ओके, एक मिनट है. मैं जॉस टॉपिक का है वो, जंप स्टार्ट का ही है ना?
यस मैम.
ओके, इट हैज टू बी बिकॉज कैफे एक्टिविटी जंप स्टार्ट में ही है. सिस्टम्स मैनेजर, this one I guess, right? Hosting a static website on Amazon S3 cafe activity. Are you saying about this, Mihir?
Yes ma'am.
Okay, fine. सो कल हम क्या करते हैं, कल हम यहाँ से स्टार्ट करते हैं. मैं कल क्विकली आपको ये लैब पहले बता दूंगी एंड देन वी विल गो फॉर द स्टोरेज गेटवे एंड टुमारो वी विल बी एबल टू कंप्लीट दिस first part of the gem start and then we will start with the advance will hardly take 2 or 3 days, that's all. Okay, so I guess as per my interpretation now till 9th, okay, if required we will conduct the technical session on Saturday as well और Saturday तक हमारा ये पूरा complete हो जाएगा. Okay, complete हो जाएगा in the sense I am not in hurry, you are going to prepare yourself for the exam, so then we will be the topics will be completed. Okay, फिर उसके बाद we will go for the last cases, ये जो exam preparation वाले cases है, all these things. Okay, so we will be doing it together or we will prepare ourselves very well for the examination. Have you registered yourself for the exam, anybody from this class?
No, ma'am.
Not yet, right? Okay, fine. So अभी आपको I think next week से registration आपका start हो जाएगा. So be prepare folks. So पहला आपका अभी टारगेट है एग्जाम क्रैक करना. ओके, सेकंड टारगेट आपका आएगा इंटरव्यू क्रैक करना. सो एग्जाम क्रैक करना इज नॉट अ बिग डील, लेट मी टेल यू. ओके, सो जस्ट बेसिक्स चाहिए आपको. यू विल ऑल्सो हैव द क्वेश्चंस हैंडी विथ यू, नॉट ऑल बट टू सम एक्सटेंट आपके पास क्वेश्चंस भी रहते हैं. सो दैट वी विल बी यूजिंग. लेकिन आपका मेन ऑब्जेक्टिव यहाँ का जो है वो यू शुड गेट अ डिसेंट जॉब इन योर हैंड, राइट? सो उसके लिए आपको इंटरव्यू क्रैक करना है और इंटरव्यू क्रैक करने के लिए ऑल्सो आई वॉन्ट यू टू फोकस ऑन दीज मॉक इंटरव्यू क्वेश्चन, वो भी हमें करना है. ओके, एंड जस्ट उसे क्रैम करना नहीं है, उसे रटना नहीं है. डेफिनेटली यू शुड बी एबल टू पुट इट इन योर ओन वर्ड्स एंड आई एम वेरी हैप्पी जो भी कुछ स्टूडेंट्स यहाँ बचे हैं, बिकॉज इनिशियली आई थिंक इट वाज 30 स्ट्रेंथ, राइट? लेकिन आज हम देख रहे हैं कि स्ट्रेंथ काफी कम हुआ है. लेकिन जो स्टूडेंट्स यहाँ है वो जेन्युइनली जॉब चाहते हैं, वो जेन्युइनली करियर करना चाहते हैं, राइट? एंड दैट्स व्हाई यू आर हियर and I'm pretty sure each and every participant is going to get a good job. Just focus on your basics, that's all, and I will be helping you. So abhi last 4-5 दिन हम, once we complete this one, tomorrow we will be able to complete the jump start. Next 2 days में बाकी का topic खत्म हो जाएगा and then we will just review everything and you are very free to ask me anything. Not only this one, even lab, जो भी lab आपके ठीक से नहीं हुए हैं वो labs भी हम फिर से करेंगे, no problem. And I will start it tomorrow. मिहिर का जो लैब है वो से हम पहले कर लेते हैं. ओके, सो सी यू टुमारो. एनी अदर क्वेश्चन?
मैम ये कंप्लीट होने के बाद पोर्टल कितने टाइम तक एक्सेस मिलेगा?
एग्जैक्टली मुझे पता नहीं है. ओके, सो आई थिंक बीना विल हेल्प यू इन दैट. बीना मैम से आप ये पूछ लो ये कितने दिन तक रहेगा. ओके, सो एज पर माय इंफॉर्मेशन मे बी एक वीक तक आपको ये मिल सकता है. जब तक आप आपकी एग्जाम क्लियर नहीं करते हो, आपको वाउचर्स मिलने वाले हैं, एग्जाम होने वाला है, तब तक आपको एक्सेस रहेगा. बट वंस यू क्लियर योर एग्जामिनेशन फिर ये एक्सेस आपको नहीं मिलता है.
यस.
ओके, लेकिन फिर भी आप बिना से एक बार उसे कंफर्म कर लो.
यस मैम,
ओके, ओके folks, thank you, see you tomorrow. Thank you.